All right, welcome back, everybody. Tonight's guest is Hunter Becton. He's the owner of a 70 C10 truck. I've been checking out his social media ever since he reached out to me, and things pretty badass. So I'm pretty anxious to learn about it. The Pro Touring truck scene's sure been on fire the last few years. A lot of companies supporting that industry, uh, mostly Chevy products, of course.
Yeah, it is a little Chevy heavy, that's for sure. That is for sure.
I think that goes with pretty much anything, even the cars. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess they sold more of them, but
Yeah, there's a lot of C10s out there, that's for sure.
I like to call the C10 the new first gen Camaro for hot rodders.
These
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
Yeah.
And when I go to cruise this year, when I went, well, last year I guess, when I went to cruising the coast, there was certainly more C10s out there than there were first gen Camaros, which definitely a shift for
Yep.
sure.
Yep.
Um, I live about an hour away from where it is, and just driving there, like not even if I was going to cruising the coast, just if you got on the interstate at all on that week, you're like, oh, Camaro, 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 passing. Now it's, oh, C10, C10. It's nuts
Yeah.
how the transitions happened. And,
Well, it's
uh,
been cool to see like all the products that's come out for them. You know what I
mm,
mean? Like you said, the aftermarket support has been absolutely massive. And I can remember, playing with Mustangs back in the day, and you could get on a Mustang catalog and see anything and everything that you ever wanted. You know what I mean? It's got to where
mm,
seasons have gotten that way. So I think that's why, a lot of people have gotten into it,
yeah, yeah,
or why it's blowing
absolutely.
up anymore.
I'm surprised you can still you see so many of them with the patina, and
Oh
I'm sure
yeah.
some are fake patina, but a lot of them aren't. It's amazing that there's so many out there that are in still good enough shape that they hadn't been used to death. You
Hmm.
know, so let's just get a little background on yours and what made you decide something that's made the haul hay haul ass.
Yeah. So, um, I kind of grew up running around with C10s. My grandfather, as long as I could ever remember, he always had like a 67 72 or a square body, like always. So as a kid, I was always running around in one of those. And then my other grandfather was a big time hot rodder too. So he was on the other side of the fence and was always big into Fords.
Mm,
He was like the president of AAA and always had T-Birds and like old Ford coupes. So I grew up around the hot rod scene, but definitely no pedigreed racing background, that's for sure.
mm,
Um, but when it came to the truck stuff, I think I saw a couple original trucks that were way back in the day that raced before anybody did. And it was the C10R was one of the baddest trucks back in the day. And I can't remember the guy's name that owns the C10R, but I always thought that thing was just too cool.
mm.
And I remember seeing an episode of Hot Rod one time where they put like a C10, they had a C10 and they threw some QA1 suspension on it and they took it autocrossing. And after that, I was sold. I was like, that is the coolest thing ever. I gotta get out and do that. So
Oh, was that the Hot Rod Garage with the
yeah, the
blue
Hot
the
Rod
blue
Garage,
truck and the
the
black
blue
bed or
one.
something?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that one.
Yep, yep. I seen that episode and I was like, man, that's awesome. I want to do that really bad.
Mm,
So, yeah, it kind of hook, line, sinker. Then I was big. I've been big in cars ever since. I mean, or all along.
mm,
Every vehicle that I've ever got a hold of, I had to modify, mess with. So, I was in the Jeep game for a while, and I sold my Jeep, and I was like, I'm gonna go get me a C10. So, I found this thing in Missouri, and hit the guy up and drove out there and got it, and it was a little rough around the edges, but it had a cool backstory.
yeah,
Um, it was two twins. They built this car with their dad. Their dad was a big time drag racer, and the whole story was like for them to buy their first car, they put this truck together. It already had the 6 liter in it, and it was just pretty much bare bones and like cut springs. That was pretty much it. But it was a good buy, and I brought it home and ended up being a basket case. So
it's always the case, right?
yeah, dude.
It seemed too
Uh,
good to be true.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was cool and like I didn't get like ruined on the price or anything,
Huh?
but
Mm,
let's just say we found some demons that I've been chasing down for years. So,
yeah, yeah. What? So it was I assume that you've upgraded all the cut springs since then, right?
oh yeah, for sure. It's had two suspension variations, and you said you looked at my I don't know how much you dug into my social media stuff, but
Mm,
it's undergoing its like third variation at this point.
So,
In about a year,
well,
but I can't leave it alone.
how long ago did you buy the truck?
So I've had it like 8 years now.
Oh shoot. Okay, so this has been a while. Long.
Yeah.
What was the first rendition? Just like bolt on upper and lowers?
Yeah, it was both on uppers and lowers. I
Yeah.
kind of fixed some of the suspension in the front. I got that QA1 kit just because I got sold from, the hot rod garage situation.
All right.
Yeah, and then I started racing on it right there with just uppers and lowers.
Mm.
So I did a coilover swap in the rear at first, did the uppers and lowers in the front with a decent sway bar, and yeah, hit the track with some 300 tread wears.
I mean, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah, right.
Is the
Uh,
back is a 4 bar in the back?
it's a still trailing arm
Still
system
trying? Okay.
in the rear right now. So
Mm.
the rear is kind of weird right now. So I hacked into it just to, let's say this. I raced on it for probably 4 years and original chassis, and I wadded up the chassis. So meaning like it got to the point to where none of the suspension adjustments that I had could make up for how bent the chassis was.
Oh gosh.
Um, you could look at it from the back and it would just dogleg down the road. So
Hmm.
what we decided to do was take the chassis out of a 3/4 ton 1970s truck, and since the sidewalls of the frame's a little bit thicker, boxed the entire frame, and then I did like a back half and built well modified all of the QA1 stuff to work with the step notch that I built in the
Mm.
rear. So I basically hacked up everything that I had to make it work in the rear. Um, and that's not the best situation as of right now, but it's kind
Mm.
of what we're working with. I eventually want to do like a decoupled 3 link in the rear would kind of be the goal.
Man, it seems like I'm hearing. I didn't even know what that was until I don't know a handful of episodes ago. Oh well, Tyler with the Scout has it.
Yeah.
Um, and I think JJ has it on the Camaro. And then I just hear more. I hear that coming up more and more. And uh,
And I'm
yeah,
no genius when it comes to suspension, so I've been told by a lot of more educated folks that that's the route to go. So
yeah, yeah.
that's
Oh,
kind of where
look,
I'm headed.
I look. I'm learning from people telling me what things are never heard of, and then I go read about them and kind of half-ass understand them and fake it till I make it. You know.
For sure.
so,
Uh, I'm
so,
definitely in that crowd with you, brother.
um, is there anybody making a decoupled like a bolt-in deal?
So I've talked, the problem with my setup is since it's what I've done to the rear, it kind of makes it difficult for me to buy anything off the shelf at this point.
Mm,
So I've been talking to, Jesse's huge in the game. So Jesse Vaughn at level 7, and
mm,
then Tyler at 10 Works. I talk to them occasionally, and we've got some ideas on what I would like to eventually. I don't know about you, but like I'm so impatient when it comes to racing. Like I want to get out there. So even if I am sometimes on like not the best stuff, like I would sacrifice um the best stuff to be able to have seat time.
mm. Yeah, especially if that means if you don't do that, then the truck could be sitting forever, and
Yeah,
you know,
I'm not one to have a jack stand queen. I really like to get
mm,
out
yeah. Mine upsets me if it's on jack stands and can't be
there.
driven
Yeah.
at any time.
So
And
we've
it,
got future plans to work that out. I've got the working on the front suspension right now. I got with TCI, partnered with them recently. I know you talked to Jason. Jason's awesome.
oh yeah.
Uh, he's been super helpful. So I did their front independent IRS system.
Mm.
So I'm gonna try that out.
So pulling a QA up, QA1 out with the TCI,
Mm.
what kind of led you to that decision?
Well, it's kind of a known thing in most of the forums. I mean, if anybody's looked at any of that stuff, I've been known to break things.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, and there was a situation a couple years ago where I broke some of the QA1 stuff at C10 Nationals. I don't know if you ever seen any of that, but
No.
I actually broke. So they were honest about it and they fixed it. But I snapped both of the upper control arms in the same day. Um,
Dang.
so we're at Nashville Super Speedway, and there's a corner there that's quite upsetting. That you're just like whack, whack, you rack it back and forth, and it really upsets the suspension. And it broke at like 70 miles an hour. So what happened? They had an issue with the studs that held the upper control arm, and it ripped them through the frame. So the upper control arm came completely out and just dropped down to the ground, and I went off into the grass.
Dang.
Um, so we fixed it on the track that day, and then the next day, day two, I broke the other side.
Oh God.
And they had, I don't want to sit and talk trash about QA1 because they have
Mm,
a lot of good stuff. I just kind of reached a limit with what I could do without modifying a whole bunch of things. Like one thing that I didn't really like with the QA1 crossover was the rack that's in it. So they use a Dodge Dakota rack, and
okay.
it's really slow. And the only way to speed it up would be to send it off to somebody and spend like $1,000 to have a Dodge Dakota rack upgraded. And I'm just like, I'm done with that.
Mm,
And there's a few other things like the motion ratio had some limitations and so on. So, like I said, I had some other guys that have run some Q or the TCI stuff and had good feedback. And I met with Jason at C10 Nationals last year. We talked quite a bit, and I liked everything he had to say. So I was like, let's give it a go.
mm. Yeah, sweet. Do they use the Mustang 2 rack in theirs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because you can get a quote unquote quick ratio. I have one in mind.
Yeah.
I feel like it's too slow still, but
So dude, I loved when I don't know if yours has ever had a box in it, but I had a Borgeson box in my
I
truck
had
for like,
Borgans box.
dude,
Yeah.
I love that Borgeson box.
Hmm.
It was so, you err on the sense of like too light and not light enough, not heavy, like you want some feedback. But dude, that thing, you could just be like, wow, 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 and get
Hmm.
through slalom, easy breezy.
Yeah.
Um, but it is nice to have the option of, hey, if I want a faster Mustang 2 rack, or if I want to have this one changed, like it's a rack that's out there that someone's modified 1,000 times. You know what I
Hmm.
mean?
Yeah. 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 I mean, I think the ratio that I have now is the same as the box was. It's like 2.5 turns, lock to lock.
I can't remember what that one actually is now, but last time I was talking to Jason, he's like, "You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine." I was like, I trust you."
I mean, no, of course that all depends on the where the tire outer tie rod connects. I mean,
Well, so
you
they actually do some cool stuff with. He gave me some parts beforehand that I played with because they use the Willwood Pro spindles.
mm,
They have the detachable arms, so you can put different length arms on there, and you can modify them and so on and so forth. But dude, he let me play with. He sent me one. He's like, "Here, I have this arm. Try this out." And I was like, "Man, this I can't believe how much difference it changed on track just to have that shorter arm."
hmm,
Yeah, so little things
interesting.
like that.
Yeah. I wonder, do you know if I know QA1, their products for Mopar, uh, they bought somebody out that had designed those. So they didn't actually design those Mopar products. Do you know if they designed the C10 kit?
Oh, they definitely designed the C10 kit
Yeah. Okay.
because I was actually so after I had broke the stuff, that was when their crossmember had just came out.
Mm,
So like they sponsored me after that. They're like, "Look, you look like you beat the hell out of this thing, so like I want you to use this product and see if it holds up." So I actually talked to some of the guys that were on the project when they built it, I guess.
mm.
I had some contacts there. So that was always good. But I don't know. I know they bought Detroit Speed.
Yeah. The Mopar stuff was way before that. It was just some independent guy that was building built-in kits for the old cars, and then he had I think a D100 kit also that QA went and bought I guess they bought the designs from him.
Oh, I got you.
And so I didn't know if I think they got a F100 kit now too.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if they were just buying businesses or if they were
I
actually
think
designing
they
stuff.
I think they kind of are, from what I've been told, or from what I've seen, as far as them buying up a couple different businesses, kind of like Holly bought up a lot of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, hopefully they don't do what Holly did.
Yeah.
I don't think they will.
No, but
Yeah.
they are like they have pushed out a lot of good products. I mean, they seem like especially in the truck game, they're beating everybody to the punch. I will say
Mm,
that. Like the NBS and the OBS, they pump those out pretty quick.
mm, yeah. So how close are you to finishing installing all the stuff?
So it's been a bit of a push. We've got everything out. We got all the new stuff in. Now I'm down to that knick-knack portion that's no fun that nobody likes. You got all the big stuff done. I've got all the drop spindles on, the brakes are together. The engine's almost done. So what I did engine-wise was so it's a 6 liter LQ4, and then I bought a CTSV blower. And the cheap and easy way to do that to make horsepower is if you leave everything alone. And granted, this is like it's got a BTR stage 3 truck came in it, and that's it.
Hmm.
Um, you get the adapter plates from a rec port to a cathedral port, and you just drop that blower on there. Well, the big problem with that is you end up not atomizing your fuel properly, and it was like spraying on the lip of the adapter and then kind of just
Oh,
puking
shoot.
into the cylinder.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it worked, and we tried to at one point like open that up a little bit to where it made it a little bit better, but it just never was great. So I decided to get some 823 heads, and I had those port and polished, and kind of updated the valve train a little bit, and so I've got that all together now. New heads are on. Uh, Everything is where it needs to be. So at this point, we just got to get. I'm waiting on motor mounts. Once I get motor mounts, we're gonna stick that bad boy back in there, and we should be on the up and up.
Hmm. Those 823 heads, what do those come on?
They're like a LS3 style head.
Okay. All right.
Um, so it's like a variant,
Yeah.
But the
I don't,
cannon's attached to.
to me, they're all LSs. I know some are Rackport, some are Cathedral, but I don't know which ones are which.
I have to
Uh,
be honest with you, there's a lot of different variations. I know some number codes are the same as others, and
yeah.
yeah.
But did you have the blower on there before? Yeah, obviously, if you had some
Yeah, yeah,
fuel
yeah.
problems.
Yeah, like I said, I just wanted the heads to match the blower, just so
Mm.
it would help out with that issue.
And I'm sure
So,
they'll flow better since,
oh, I'm sure they'll flow better now. Like I said,
yeah.
they ported them quite well.
Who did them for you?
There's a guy locally that I just dropped him off. He had them done. So,
Oh, so not CNC port, just hand port.
yeah, they're hand ported.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wow. Old school.
yeah, we'll see what happens.
I hand ported the heads on my car too. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna make it look smoother. I don't need
hmm
some fancy computer to tell me where it needs to go.
Well, I can't say that he didn't use CNC to a certain degree, but there does look like spots that there might have hand ported some of it. But
Touched them up. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I thought about doing it myself too, but I was kind of concerned about burning through in some spots.
Yeah, I kind of was too, but it's aluminum at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
You can try and weld it up if you got to.
you could. Yeah, you could.
That's also a head you can go to a junkyard and get another one. At least in my case, I can. Oh shoot. So is the TCI stuff bolt in, or did you have to cut the whole center cross member out and weld it all in?
No, it's pretty much bolt in.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That makes it easy. So does
hmm
the frame still have the factory big giant cross member
Oh
in
no,
it?
so it's all different cross member.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you take a original cross member and you bolt the new cross
Oh,
member.
okay. A new cross member bolted. Well,
Mhm.
that's nice. That makes it easy.
Yep. It's really not too bad.
Yeah. What do you got? T56 trans?
Yep. T56 Magnum.
Nice. Nice.
What do
So
you
what
want?
events have you been doing with this thing?
So my all-time favorite has always been LS Fest.
Hmm.
Been doing that one for a long time. Um, I've watched some of your interviews, and I think it's funny the dynamic of who likes what. And I've always been like kind of a known SCCA hater, not because I understand why they do what they do, and I understand the need of it. I can't get out there with all the rules and the work in the track. Like I'm just out. So like I love events like LS Fest, and I love like Finch's events. Have
Hmm.
you seen his events? Dude, they're so much fun. Just to be able to get out there and like you can run until you're tired of running.
Right.
And then there's always like a shootout at the end. So I usually follow Finch around quite often. I know a lot of the guys, a lot of good friends with a lot of those guys. So I've done a lot of those. I'm excited to do the FM3 event with Racing Birds this year.
Oh, the
Um,
Drive Auto X stream.
yeah, the East versus the West stuff.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm not gonna be able to make every single one of them, but I'm gonna try to make three out of the four on this side of the country.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time at the National Corvette Museum. That's like our main track because it's super close to me. I'm just right out. I'm like right outside of Louisville, so that track's not too far away. So anytime there's anything going on there, I really try to hit it. And Autocross Week is gonna run through there twice, and the Racing Birds is gonna run through there twice this year. So we're
Mm.
gonna try to hit all those. But like I said, Finch, LS Fest, gosh, I'm having a brain fart. Oh, C10 Nationals. I love C10 Nationals. We always make a point to hit that one. And then oh, what's his other event? Bowtown Nationals.
Where's that one at?
Bowtown Nationals is usually they do one, I think in Cincinnati, and they also do one at Bowling Green.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Neat. Do they have a lot of trucks that go to LS Fest?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like trucks have infiltrated the market,
Did you see how many are registered for Autocross Week?
dude. A
Dude,
lot.
that's gonna be like it's like the Pro Touring truck shootout with
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think everybody else is gonna be sitting back and watching y'all battle it out.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I've always loved Arnie's events. I went to almost every single one of those,
Mm.
but he's not doing it again this year. So
No?
yeah,
That sucks. I wonder what
yeah.
happened.
I don't know.
I think last year he kind of got burned with the track flooding and
Yeah, that was.
rain and all of that.
I think it was a lot of. I think I'm surprised it got done. I remember seeing the track when it was covered in mud, and it was
Mm.
like a week out, and I'm like, there's no way we're doing this event, but he ended up pulling it off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, maybe he'll come back next year, figure it out, regroup. But
hmm
yeah. So did you decide if you can do autocross week?
I'm almost positive I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
You do it?
Oh, I'm already registered.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always get a little hesitant, like the truck's not running yet, so I'm not putting any money on the table just yet.
It's not till July.
I know, I know, I know, I know.
I mean,
But
there's
yeah,
a lot of stuff I want to do too, and I just keep like, it's not till July. It's not till
yeah,
I
yeah.
got plenty of time.
I mapped it out the other day. I was sitting at work and mapped out autocross week, and I was like, man, this looks like a lot of fun. I've always wanted to do like, I've always watched the drag and drives with 30 to
Mm,
20. It's like 6 week. I just watched all that the other day. And I'm not much of a drag racer, but like I said, the whole adventure side of the situation seems like a lot of fun.
mm. Well, I like it's the adventure, and then I just like driving my car, and
Oh yeah.
and autocross. So why not go beat the crap out of it and then go drive it to do it again? You
Yep, yep.
know, and hopefully it survives.
Do you know if do they do the checkpoints like they do in Sick Week?
I think they do, but I don't know if they have a route that you have to follow.
So you just have to do the checkpoint. Outside of that, you can
I
go wherever.
think. Don't quote me on that, but and shoot, one of the guys I had on the show, actually a few of them have done it, and I've asked them how many miles it was, and I want to say it was around 500, maybe.
When I mapped it out the other day, it was almost 400 miles, I think, round trip.
Was it that far?
Huh?
Was it that far? It didn't.
It was
It
like
seems like it's
380
pretty
something,
close.
something like that.
Okay, yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah. The trips between tracks, I think, ended up being like an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, hopefully they make it a little longer, like put checkpoints. Kind of. I'd imagine it's pretty up there. I mean,
Yeah.
in a lot of those areas. And hills, my car's never driven in hills.
Um,
Except
do
for
you
when it goes to
know,
Mo Party, you know?
oh, so you do go to Mo Party, so you've been
Yeah.
up this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I've just driven it around Bowling Green,
Right.
that's about it. But never like legit hills. I don't know
Right.
if we'd get into any over there, but I mean, heck, how close are you to NCM?
Oh, like an hour and 10 minutes.
Shoot, man, they got so much stuff in that area.
I love Bowling Green.
I mean, between Beach Bend and NCM, I mean, it
hmm
seems like
Oh,
every
dude.
weekend.
If I didn't have family here in town, I would live in Bowling Green for
Right.
sure.
That's that's cool. So, what is you said you wanted to autocross the truck after you saw it at Hot Rod Garage. So is that the first and vehicle you have autocross was the truck?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
I've
that's cool.
autocrossed. Yeah, I've autocrossed a few other things since then, but yeah, that was the first, like my first autocross event at SCC. It was a SCCA event.
Mm,
Was yeah, in the truck.
yeah. My Duster was uh, actually up until like 3 months ago, it was the only thing I'd ever autocrossed. And the only other thing being a Miata.
I've got a Miata.
Do you?
I'm a Miata lover. So, and it came by complete accident too, man. I used to hate on those cars so bad, and and now everybody makes fun of me for how much I enjoy Miatas. So,
Is it a stock Miata?
the one I have now, no, isn't stock.
Yeah.
So the story was that we had a neighbor. So I got into racing the truck, right? And you get into seeing what cars are out there and what cars do good, right?
Mm,
And obviously you go to any autocross and you're going to see at least four or five Miatas. And so I kind of started researching them and blah, blah, blah. And there was a guy across the street from me. I've been living next to him for, 5, 6 years at this point, and these two Miatas have been sitting in his yard this entire time. And they've got, stuff growing around them and the whole nine yards. And one day I met him at the mailbox. And I'm like, what are you doing with those, man? What's the story on them? And he's like, oh, well, I had a wreck in the white one, and somebody pulled out in front of me and hit him like right on the passenger wheel, and it like messed up the control arm.
mm.
And he's like, well, I bought the red one for parts, and then I just never got around to fixing it. I'm like, so you want to sell them? And he's like, yeah, I don't want them. You want to get them out of my yard? And I was like, well, what do you want for them? And he's like, give me 250 bucks and you can have. I was like, sure, I'll be right back. So I went across the street and handed him the money, and I got my trailer and winch out, and we yanked it out. And the white one was actually in pretty good shape. It had, I think it had like 80,000 miles on it, and it was just the fender was messed up, and I replaced, the upper and lower on that side, and put coilovers on it. And then just started driving that thing like crazy. So then, of course, you do everything else. You put the roll bar in it, you put the seats in it, put the shifter in it, put sticky tires on it, and yeah, that was an NA. So
Okay.
I played with that one for a while, and what would happen is I don't know if you noticed the name of the truck of being Whiskey D.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a running joke for the longest time because I could tell you story upon story. This truck has been an absolute nightmare to get to work, and it seemed like every time I would take it to an event, I would break it, or something wouldn't work, or whatever company I was working with, there was some weird situation where it was the wrong size or it was a bad part or it was like it'd go on forever and ever.
Mm,
So I would run the Miata when the truck was down. So if the truck broke or I was out parts or something wouldn't messed up, I just had a backup car.
no, nice.
So yeah, and that continued on. So then I, had a love for roadsters. I was like, well, I've tried a Miata and now I got to try an S2000. So I started playing with those for a while. So I had an S2000 for a minute, and S2000s are fun. I don't know if you ever had one of those or raced one, but
But I mean, we see them at autocross every now and then. They're pretty
they're,
cool.
yeah, they're good little cars. But I bought just like a beat. I always stay around like beater cars. That was like a rebuilt title S2000. It wasn't overly expensive. I put coilovers and wheels and tires on it, and just ripped it for a while. The problem with the S2000s, man, is the parts are so expensive, and some parts they just don't make. Like the transmission issues and the AP1s, you just get lucky. You can't buy synchros for that transmission. Just no one makes them. So what you have to do is you have to buy used transmissions until hopefully one doesn't have the problem.
That's crazy.
So, oh, it's nuts. And when people want an arm and a leg for them, and it's just like a roll of the dice of whether it's going to be good or not. So I was like, I'm tired of messing with this thing. And then I've had two more Miatas since then. Right now, I've got a white NB that's got
Do you autocross those or you just
yeah.
commuters? Yeah.
I drive it back and forth to work all the time, and yeah, I run all across in it, and like that. This one's gonna be more for like track day stuff. So
Yeah.
um I enjoy big track stuff too, but the truck just isn't, well sorted for that. I don't know if you've ever done anything on big track, but
Not with my car. I've done it uh, in Miatas.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just the consumables are very expensive, and it's got a LSA supercharger on it, so they heat soak like crazy. It's just not the best. I mean, I've done it, but it's just not the best option.
Yeah. For me, I'd love to turn some laps with my car on the track, but I don't know. I just don't want to die in
Yeah, that's the other thing too.
it.
I don't have a cage or anything like that.
No, I don't either. So it's
And
like,
wadded up.
is it worth it? It'd be cool to do it once, but then, that I think the risk outweighs the reward for sure, you know.
Yep. So
And
yeah,
then
that's for the Miata stays around for the track day stuff.
yeah, now we got this piece of crap BMW for Lemons race. I'll get my fill in a few
Dude,
weeks of track day.
I've always wanted to do that.
So yeah,
One you
14.
got in the picture there?
Yeah, the one in the back. Yeah.
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 Is
Yeah,
it a
it's
two-door or four-door?
four,
Four-door.
6 cylinder automatic.
Where you running lemons at?
And NOLA Motorsports.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the first weekend of March.
How many drivers do you get?
You can you're however many you want, essentially. We have four on our team. So and it's not 24 hours. It's I think around 14 hours total. So like seven one day, seven and a half, seven, something like that. So if your junk stays together to be on the track that long, you know.
Did you so how did so I've wanted to do that. Me and my buddy my best friend Huff, we always talk about racing. Always wanted to do the Lemons race. So did you have like did all of y'all throw in on it and then um I guess you got to have standard safety stuff that you got to pay for to get it up to code, right?
Yeah, the safety doesn't go against the budget. And so, but arguably, I'm learning that there's a lot of gray area, you know, particularly if you watch any of these guys like in-car cameras from races. I'm like, this dude's got more money in electronics in this thing than we got in the whole car,
Mm,
So, uh, I mean, it needs cage, needs fire system, seats, harness. Um, Everybody needs fire gear, Hans device, So they definitely take safety seriously. Uh,
that's good.
the car needed some mechanical repair and that's all been done. The car's ready pretty much besides like race numbers
Is it a
and
fast speed?
automatic 5-speed automatic.
Okay. Well, that'll be fun.
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. We're getting together for dinner and I think next week to just kind of come up with game plans,
Right.
so we don't look like a bunch of total idiots. I mean, one
We,
one of our guys, well, I'll probably do a podcast on this, but one of our guys that was, well, he's still on a team. He broke his leg, so we had to get a new guy, and the new guy is got he's been road racing since I was born, so and
nice.
he's done a bunch of lemon stuff, so he came over to check fitment in the car and all of that, and he's just asking me stuff. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I didn't know I needed to know that.
Tell you, bud.
So, we're gonna try and not look like a bunch of idiots now that we have kind of a mentor.
Are you familiar with that track?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we did an open track day with this car, um, just to make sure it wouldn't blow up right away before we put the safety stuff in it. So,
Okay.
and then I've done two other open track days there, with Miatas. So it's
You ever got
slow.
in, you ever got into the sim racing stuff?
No, no, never. Although I guess I'm a little bit older than the whole video game generation, and
Yeah.
and I hate to call it a video game because I know it's way more to it than that. Um, honestly, I wouldn't even know where to begin with that stuff, but
It's a
some
lot
of
of
it
fun.
looks really pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun. Just the iRacing is pretty neat to be able to in the off season. Like, it sounds like you don't have the off season like we do. I mean, we got a lot of downtime, and a
Mhm.
lot of people in this area do like full teardowns like I do because there's so much time to wait. But just kind of keep your skills somewhat sharp. and then race on a lot of tracks that you may never raced on, just to kind of get the muscle memory, understand where the turns are and the braking zones and stuff like that.
Okay.
Quite helpful. And then just to get, I don't know if you've ever played any other video games, but it's like Call of Duty for guys that like cars. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, I know some of these rigs are like crazy over the top and you can have
Oh yeah.
steering wheel feedback and, all of that. I mean, if you don't have the $50,000 rig, is I assume it's just kind of numb. It is more like
No,
video
no,
game.
you can spend. So I mean, I'll indulge. Like I've got a pretty, I have a pretty nice setup when it comes to my wheel. Like your wheel and your base is something you want to spend some money on. Your computer, obviously. Um, that's where you get most of your feedback from is the wheel and the base. So
Okay.
you spend $1,000, $1,200 on a wheel, or a base, excuse me, and you can spend like another 500 on a wheel. You're gonna have a pretty immersive experience depending on, how good your screen setup is. So I'm in, maybe 7 grand on my gig, on my
Mm-hmm.
rig. But I don't have, the ones that you see that are like 50 grand are the ones that have like the motion
Mm-hmm.
feedback. Like that's a whole nother ball game.
Okay.
One of my other buddies, he's probably got 25 grand in his rig. Well, I would never go that far. I'm a little further than I'd want to be now,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but yeah, it's you're definitely get an understanding of what the car is doing. They are making a little bit more budget-friendly options now when it comes to the seat movement. So there's one that you can get on Amazon that's like I think it's like 2,500 bucks, still expensive, but it slides on rollers back and forth. It's got like skateboard wheels to where it pivots in the back like this. So
Okay.
where you get the feel of the car, getting loose, or it gives you a little bit of G feel to it when it moves through a corner. So I'd like to try one of those.
Hmm. So how does the movement of the car translate in real life? Like, I assume you can select what car you want to drive.
Oh yeah, so like well, depending on what game you're playing, right? So if you're going to
Right.
do a set of Corsa, you can do whatever you want.
Mm.
When it comes to iRacing is very sanctioned. It's just like SCCA would be. Like you start off in Miatas and you have to get good enough and not cause problems throughout races to be able to move up into better cars. And they won't
Hmm.
let you in lobbies unless have reached those points. And then if you cause problems in races to where you're like wrecking people or dive bombing stuff, like they'll kick you out of you can get removed from the lobbies. So it
Hmm.
keeps the racing clean and as realistic as you can make it. Um,
Interesting.
there's events that run all throughout the night. So like if I logged on right now, you've got like a home page and you go, okay, well, I want to race MX5 Cup or I want to get a NASCAR or I want to race a BMW. Like you can do Cup Series stuff, like all kinds of stuff, open wheel, whatever.
Interesting. And is there I assume there's like a monthly fee to be a member of
Yeah.
iSeries or something?
It's not very expensive. I can't remember what it is. I think I paid for it for a year and it might have been like 150 bucks maybe for a year. I
Okay.
don't know.
Interesting. You're not the first to ask me if I've done that before.
Hmm.
So, and I know some people that are doing it. I've never been exposed to it, and I was never a video game guy. I guess I'm a little bit older than that
All right.
generation. I'm going to be 50 in May. So,
A little older than me.
I mean, the first Nintendo thing came out when I was, I don't know, probably early teenager.
Right.
So it was probably around the time, and my parents didn't have money to buy me that kind of stuff. So I'd go play at the friend's house down the street. So,
I feel
and then
you.
of course, that time in my life, I was more interested in pulling with cars and stuff anyway. So I'm like,
Yeah, I wasn't a big video game guy as a kid either. So
yeah,
there.
yeah, I'd rather go, screw around with a car or whatever in my spare time than sit in front of TV. It's
We're
funny how
cool.
things didn't change. You know? Oh, goodness. So I would. I told you you have podcasts and we can talk about that in a minute.
Sure.
But I was listening to one of yours and you and your buddy that's on the show. Sorry, I don't remember his
Mhm.
name. Um, you were talking about how there's different levels of suspension. Um, and it pertains not just to trucks. Y'all talk about trucks on your show, but I think it's everything. And I think you were mentioning something about everybody advertises, oh, this is better handling and this and that. But then there's nothing to back up those statements. And that kind of goes along in the Mopar crowd. These cars were built with torsion bars and, you know, torsion bars. Well, and there's some good, it's good. I mean, look, you can really do really good with a torsion bar Mopar, but I do feel like you get to a limit at some point. And then there's people making these bolt-in coil-over rack conversions and stuff, and they are notorious for saying, better handle. Okay, better handling than what? A car with a big
Then
block
what?
and six-cylinder torsion bars,
Exactly.
you know, better than the factory alignment specs that say, positive caster. I mean,
Hmm.
or like 1 degree of caster or something like that. And
Yeah.
so it's nice to see somebody else that relates to that.
So that caused a little bit of a stink on I love getting in the groups. I'm very active in the groups. I like talking in there, and it's just based on me wanting to learn stuff, right? Because like
Mm,
I'm no, guru when it comes to any of this. So like I want to reach out and talk to these people and go like, how do you come up with what is good? I know because I mean you own a suspension company, right? But like when I was looking at buying stuff, um, I had understood then like what I had wasn't what I wanted. So then I was like, okay, I kind of understand where this is. Now, is anybody gonna like, is there any way for me to look at what I'm purchasing and know that it's better than what I have without having it right in front of me and be able to go, okay, well, this looks like this and this looks like this,
mm,
right? So we started that the argument. And now I kind of see where some of the companies they don't want to indulge their information, but at the same time, if like somebody wants to steal it, all they got to do is buy the kit and
mm,
replicate it, right? It's not like it's unforbidden knowledge, right? Um, and the other thing too is like they were like, well, you're getting in the weeds, and a lot of people that could read all these numbers and then wouldn't even know what they're looking at. So to keep things simple, we just don't go there.
mm,
Like, okay, but to me, like, I mean, the simple stuff, like, what's your camber curve, and like, how much is your Ackerman, like, what's your Ackerman gain, like, what things make it better, right?
mm,
So, my idea was like, can you go from stock? If it started out with this, and like you're able to make it this much better, and this is why. I don't know.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so we went down the rabbit hole, and I got different opinions from everybody, but I would
yeah,
like to see a little bit more put out there when it
right.
comes to how what am I paying for?
I agree. I agree 100%. And I can see their standpoint. They're not going to want to say, oh, this kid is, we do all this. And then they just spill all their intellectual property, which,
Hmm.
whatever. But like you said, if somebody wanted to steal it, they could just buy the kit, backwards engineer. But if they said, based on factory ride height of this, the factory has this camber curve, this motion ratio, so on and so forth. Our kit offers, you know, this ride height, the roll centers at this height compared to stock at this height, or even if they don't want to say numbers, they can say, we're 10% better than stock, which is
Something.
approximately this, whatever. And then, if you were the guy that wanted to know more detail, you call them up and say, "No, I really want to know. Tell me all these numbers," and go from there.
Well,
So,
a couple of the other things that I've learned from doing this too is or going down these rabbit holes is like I understand what it's like from the manufacturing standpoint of why they build things a certain way. Like, a lot of these kits that you buy on the market, you can use them as your, oh, I just want to make this truck drive better. I want to make this car drive better. Like I want to update it to more of a modern style suspension. But then what they'll do is they'll use that main kit and then they'll change certain variations with the drop spindle or control arm links or where they place the shock and things of that nature to where they can still make that one model and sell it to the masses, but then modify it slightly to where if somebody wants to get a little bit more aggressive with it, they will.
mm,
Um, and you haven't, and I've noticed this in the C10 game, I don't know about you, in the car game, is, they're selling to the masses, so the majority is gonna be just this guy wants to buy this and he wants to make it ride better. And I get it. You can't always build race car stuff for everybody because you won't sell as much stuff.
Mm.
But my thing is like, I don't know, and I'll just speak from my experience when it comes to the truck side of the game, is I don't know how some of these companies are continuing to make C10 stuff because there is a lot of C10 front conversion systems on the market. And I don't know how like there's that much room in the market. So I'm waiting on someone that does come out and go like this is full blown race, and I'm curious if that ever happens.
I think most people push it towards a chassis, you
Oh
know.
yeah, it is.
I
That's
mean, I
great.
think you're probably getting the closest thing to full
Mhm.
race without going to a chassis. With
So Jesse has been the most recent that I've seen that has gone down that road. As far as I don't know if you've seen his videos where they have a new system or he's built a new system to where it's extremely um, not modifiable, but adjustable, I guess you would say.
mm.
It's got all the good suspension geometry. Apparently, of course, that truck's not done yet, and he hasn't raced yet, but it looks pretty impressive. But like you said, there is levels to it when you go. Somebody like me making the arguments that I make, the first thing that everybody says in the forums are like, "Why don't you buy a chassis?" Yeah,
Because that's $35,000.
yeah, it's like, I get it, right? I would love to push the easy button, and maybe one day I will, but um. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
I'm thinking about pipe dreams. I don't know.
The other part of it you got to think of is I think we're in a very small percentage of people that actually beat on our cars and push them to the limit, where the majority of people just want fancy new shiny parts that they can brag about on a cruise night,
Yeah.
you know? So, and to them, if they were going from whatever a stock C10 front suspension is to a coilover in a rack, it's like, oh my gosh,
It is night and day difference.
you know? And they're not, they probably don't even have good alignment on it or anything like that. And they just think it's the greatest thing ever.
Hmm.
So
So
did,
in the Mopar game, is the chassis similar? Because like, dude, everybody you can there's like four different companies now. You can be like, hey, I wanted a C10 chassis. When can it be done?
so these are unibody cars. So, um, QA1 makes the bolt-in front and rear like a 4 bar.
Yep.
But like I said, it was some other guy that designed that. And my understanding is the rear bars or angles are not good from like a real performance aspect. I still run leaf springs. So um then there's like 4 or 5 people that make the front suspensions. They're all very similar. Um and then Speed Tech just started making a front clip and a torque arm. Not for the small cars, for the bigger cars, the B bodies and the E bodies. And there's some cutting involved with
Yeah.
those. Yeah, you got to cut the front frame horns basically from the firewall forward. Frame rails have to come off, and there's some parts that I believe weld in, like maybe the new frame rails, but then everything still kind of bolts in. Like this is the engine you can still drop out from the bottom. Um, But it's cool because it's speed tech and you put 315s on the front of these cars.
That's
Not
just
my car, but on the B bodies.
I
Or
seen
maybe even 335s. I don't even know.
yeah,
But
you can put 335s underneath the C10s.
oh
Most
shit.
everybody.
That must be nice.
Yeah, I run 315 squared.
Okay.
Um, but I could run a 235 if I wanted to, I guess.
No. That'd be sweet. I got 295 in the back and a stock tub, which a lot of people say is impossible. But um and in the front's 275. Anything bigger in the front, I'd need to be moving some metal and that ain't happening. Um,
So, yeah,
but it does good. It's good enough for me
yep, I hear
for
you.
for now, at least.
Wow, yeah, at the moment.
Oh goodness. So tell us about the podcast. How long's that thing been out?
Oh, dude, we're not too serious on that. The podcast came about just because, me and Josh love making videos. He's got track proof. And so Josh was somebody that I raced with on a regular basis. We grew up together, we've always been in cars together. And he's always raced Mustangs, and I've always made fun of him. Yeah.
There's nothing
Uh,
wrong with
it,
Mustang.
I
Box
had two
bodies?
back in the day. Like I had two Mustangs back in the day when we were growing up, and like I think he fell in love with one of the GTs that I had because it was like the first fast car we ever got to play with, and we beat the death out of that car together.
Mm,
And ever since then, he always loved them. So I mean, he's had every variation. He's had Fox bodies. He's had the new Edge. He's had the latest one, whatever number of chassis it is. Um, but then he recently I got him into racing. He was kind of drag racing for the longest time. And I was like, bro, you got to come run autocross with me. It's so much fun. You're in the car more. It's more active. Like it's a blast. You need to come do it with me. So he finally got into it. And he had a black new Edge, like a 2001. He ran that. And then he got into the EcoBoost ones. So that's
mm.
where I always found him is the fart can turbo Mustang.
Right.
And finally, I was like, he's been a diehard Ford guy all this time, and I was like, bro, one day you're gonna have to build a truck because it's just so much fun. And he finally had the next door neighbor had an OBS that's been sitting there literally since we were kids, and this guy barely drove this thing. It just sit out there and sunburnt. It has the most perfect patina on it. Oh, it's
Mm.
so great. Not a dent, not rust anywhere. So he bought that and we thrashed on that thing for like 3 months. LS swapped it, T56, full QA1, coilover conversion on it. Um, and he put 315s the way around to make LS Fest last year. So since he got hot and heavy in the trucks, then that's what led us to, we connected on that level of now we both are racing Chevy trucks. So we're like, well, why don't we start talking about it occasionally? Because there's a lot of topics that we obviously go over in all the Facebook forums. So I was like, well, let's just answer some of the main questions. And we just do it organically. Like I don't know about you. Do you have a set schedule when you put these out? Is it like on a rotating basis
Yeah, every 2 weeks.
every 2 weeks?
Mm.
So we try to get on there. He works. I've got a very busy life, and so does he. And it's usually like when we can get together and shoot the shit for an hour, we will.
Mm.
I think we've
No, it's fun. I mean,
uh,
look, everybody likes, look, any car guy likes to sit around and just BS about cars, right?
right. And then we made the Facebook group, that We Race Trucks Facebook group. So that's been fun.
Yeah, awesome. So speaking of Facebook controversies, so you do a lot of these non-SCCA events,
Yep.
and obviously in the truck class.
Uh-huh.
So most of the truck classes have full-size trucks, mini trucks, mid-size trucks, Jeeps, SUVs, all that stuff. So uh, I think some people get upset about racing mini trucks with their full-size truck. What's your stance on that?
So I've heard all the arguments, right? And
Mm,
I've listened to everybody's back and forth on it. And I get both sides of the coin. I listen to Rob talk about it. I listen to David Carroll talk about it. Um, and the multitude of other podcasts that have came out about it. But my stance is I love the S10s. Like if I were to rebuild another truck, I would build one of the square body S10s. I think it's a great platform. I think I've never driven one, but just from the size of them and how nimble they are, I think they do have somewhat of an advantage. But I'm not gonna say that they shouldn't be in the same class because to a certain degree, you if we went through the truck class with a fine-tooth comb, there would be so many subclasses of subclass of
mm,
subclass. It just, and you can't get that many people to show up to an event and it makes sense. So at a certain point, you have to pick the truck that you're going to build and be satisfied with what you've chosen is going to be the best for the race that you're going to attend. So,
mm,
it is what it is. And the other thing too that I'll say is like, it's not like these guys can buy C10, or I mean, S10 chassis at this point. Most of all what they have out there is uppers and lowers and
mm.
coilovers. That's it.
Yeah.
So now I think they do have a geometry advantage. The geometry naturally with that is better, I believe, than like a C10 is. But at the same time, it's not like they're throwing chassis underneath these things and going out and beating the brakes off everybody. So
Right. What's the wheelbase difference on those? Do you know?
I don't know to be honest.
Yeah,
I
I
know
don't
they're
know.
like my truck, they're quite wide. So is the square bodies. They're so it's having something a little bit shorter and they're much more narrow. But I know they are prone to lifting tires, which is cool to see, but I couldn't imagine. I think you had him on here, right?
Yeah, it is.
What's his name? At the red truck? I
The
talked to
red
him on
truck.
occasionally.
Yeah. Uh, it's Zach. God damn it. Oh, he's gonna hate me for this.
I know he's gonna be mad at us. I just talked to him on Facebook the other day, but like he's got photos of that truck on two wheels, and I'm like, it's gotta be sketchy.
It's got to be sketchy. Ah, I see these little Hondas and Volkswagens and Minis at autocross picking up one tire like a foot off the ground, and I'm like,
hmm So
that's
yeah, I mean, I
kind of
love them.
sketch.
I think they're super cool. And there's a couple good ones out there that are really fast. And that's the other thing too, is like I will say that like not to take any I'm not taking anything away from the drivers that have those, but it is a common theme that the guys that are in those trucks that have been racing are doing good. Like,
Mm,
there's not anybody usually that's been doing it for 5+ years that's in one of those that isn't being successful.
yeah, yeah. I guess we'll find out at autocross week, right? It's gonna be
Will.
a big mix of all
Yeah.
of them.
hmm I know Arnie tried to do the best he could with the classes, and there was a lot of arguments around, but you can't ever make everybody happy. You're never going to.
Mm-mm. No, I was a
Um,
little disappointed for autocross week that they allowed a C2 and 3 Corvettes in the vintage class.
yeah.
But there's only four vintage cars right now. So, and two of them are C3 vets. So I'm
So
gonna be,
what's the fallout there?
it's a rear IRS car,
Oh, okay. Yeah,
you know,
makes sense. Yeah.
super low center of gravity, but it is what it is. How do you make, but then you can't put, do you put those guys with the C4, 5, 6, 7, 8s? Do you make subclass of vintage? Maybe, but when you only have four cars in vintage class right now, how do you make subclasses of that? So I'm sure it'll grow. It's not till July. I mean,
So, it's one of those things where I was talking about the SCACA stuff. It's like you can't have, or me, I can't argue one way and not think the other way, right? Because like they have tons of classes. If you add the small
mm,
Sonic or the width of tire or then you just go down that rabbit hole. And so I don't want it to be that way. So, it's a lot of fun and I'm competitive and I want to win. But at the same time, like I just love being out there and being able to beat on my
oh
truck and
yeah,
hang with my buddies. You know what I mean?
yeah. I'm the same way. Look, I don't ever register for an event thinking, oh, I'm going to win this thing. I go register to have a good time, and
Right.
whatever happens,
Um,
happens. I mean, look, somebody's junk can break on the road at autocross week, and well,
right.
look. You said you were watching Sick Week this last week. Look at all the top dogs that broke.
All of them broke.
All of them broke. So,
Well, I listened to your podcast with Racing Birds the other day.
mhm.
What's his first name?
Robert.
Robert.
Mhm.
I like how they do it because I haven't been a part. I want to be a part of a series. I haven't been able to be a part of an on-running series. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And Jason was telling me too of, the way that they stack the times and how competitive it is if you touch a cone or you
Mhm.
deep, like, so it kind of opens the door a lot for driver capability rather than worrying about what everybody's driving.
Yeah, when he told me that, I was like, "That's the best thing ever," you know.
Yeah, that's pretty intelligent to
Yeah,
think of it
and
that way.
and then at autocross week, it's your two best times, so it eliminates the guy that goes out with the Hail Mary run and
Get
puts
that
it
one
on
lucky
everybody.
hot one.
The one lucky
Yeah.
run,
Uh,
or he takes a shortcut and nobody notices.
nobody
So,
noticed it. Yeah. Yeah.
but I think I saw something that was it Robert that said he was going to be running autocross week and doing the course.
I don't know. I didn't see that.
I thought
Is he even
this.
coming out this way? Is he going to be on this side of the country as well, or is
I
he just
could
going
have
to be out there and then
sworn.
meet in the middle?
I I could have sworn I saw one of his comments that he was going to be doing autocross weeks stuff. I'm gonna send him a note and ask him
What car is he run?
what.
Car does he run?
Oh, Robert Burt. He's got a truck, but if he's going to
Oh, does he?
organize, he's going to run the event though. Like he'll set the course up and all of that stuff.
I didn't know he raced. I've just learned about them recently when, of course I don't ever go out west. I would love to go out and race out there at some point, but We don't really go much outside of the east side of the country.
Mm,
Um, but I just learned about him with talking with Jason, and Jason was like, "Man, they put on some awesome events." And
mm.
then, so I didn't know he run a truck. What kind of truck does he have?
C10,
C10?
square body.
Is it
I
the blue
think he
one?
just built it last year.
Is it the
It's
blue
white,
one?
white,
White? Okay.
white with a I think the red chassis,
Oh,
red
yeah, yeah,
trim.
yeah, yeah. I've seen that truck.
Yeah. No, but I mean, I think he's coming out this way to run the event, like
Gotcha.
set the courses up and all that stuff, which would be sweet because then maybe at Nashville we'll get a taste of his big courses that everybody loves so much.
Big fast tracks.
Yeah. Have
And Finn?
you have you raced at Nashville Super Speedway?
Oh, yeah. I've done a lot. Nashville and Nashville Super Speedway and NCM are like the tracks that I visit the most.
Okay. That's
So that one in the Nashville track is always an absolute blast because they use the Roval most of the time, and it's more like a track X than it is, like a parking lot autocross.
oh no, that'll be cool. Like I might have to shift.
Oh, yeah. So you have two options. Of course, if he does it two different ways, like Finch does it two different ways. Like there's a massive center pad that you can build one hell of a track on, or they'll utilize the Roval. At C10 Nationals last year, that is the fastest autocross track I've ever been on. I got up to, I think it was 120. And it was up on the bank of the track, and like it was the whole back side of like turn two.
Dang.
Dude, we were hauling it, hauling it.
We have to shift more than once.
Oh, I was getting to the top of, I think, top of fourth.
Shoot, 120 mile an hour. I might have to be in fifth.
Mm, it was fun. It did some damage to a lot of trucks, though. There was multiple trucks that blew up from pulling the G's on that bank.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
There was well, my buddy Josh, the OBS, his truck blew up there, and then there was two of the Finch ride-along trucks that succumbed to the old starvation that day.
Throw an extra quarter or two in that day, huh?
Ah, yeah, a couple of them.
Yeah, shoot, that gets me excited. Hopefully, they do that.
I'll hope they do that one there. The another one that did you say you ran some of Finch's events? Or yeah,
So
or
he
no?
he comes to Cruising the Coast
Yeah, he does cruising
and
the
and
coast.
does the share the ride thing. So there was a bunch of trucks there.
So
Yeah.
he does another one at the Halloween, or he does it a couple times. He does a lot of events there. He has in the past. There's another one that's really fun that sets it up like monster trucks. So kind of like a 3S challenge. You done the side by side at no
Mhm.
party, but it's an actual autocross course, and they're just mirrored with each other. So you're on
Okay.
a tree, and they tree you, and then you run it, and then
Oh, sweet. First to the end with. That's like a
yeah,
pro solo, I guess, in
yeah, that was a
SCCA.
lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to do something like that. Oh, shoot. So, well, we're getting close to an hour here, so I got some random questions and I got a new one. So, what best describes your toolbox? Operating room organization, organized enough to where you know everything is, or where's that damn 9/16?
Um, I'm somewhere in the middle, I'd say. I've got a big box that I keep quite organized, but like when I'm on a project, like I don't know about you, I'm not the guy that's gonna go to the toolbox and open the box and grab the one socket that I need to go do the job. I've got trays inside like my socket.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
and I'll grab the entire tray and I just go, and that's where we leave it until the job is done. And then once the job is done and the explosion has passed, then we pick everything back up and put it back where it goes.
I mean, I owned my car for so long. Usually I know what I need. Most of the time I'll grab what I need and then that shit just ends up scattered on the floor until I'm done. And, you know, but it's
Like
very,
right now, my garage is a disaster at the moment.
oh, every time you got a big project going on. The worst is storing the parts when you got stuff taken apart. You're like, where do you put all of this junk?
Remembering where it's at, and like I've gotten better as I've gotten older. I don't know about you, but like I used to be somebody that would lose stuff like that. Now I'm like old guy out there with the marker and I'm writing everything down and like I'm putting it in the bin and
With the Ziploc bags.
yeah, with the Ziploc bags. And it saved me just the other day. I'm like, I don't even remember what that looked like. And I'm like, oh yeah, I wrote it on a bag. Good for you.
Bag of tags. All right. What kind of music you listen to when you're wrenching?
I am a like Southern rock kind of guy. Red Clay Strays. I love Red Clay Strays. Um, Old Crow Medicine Show is great. Whiskey Myers is one of my all-time favorites.
Good one. All right. Pizza, burgers.
Pizza or burgers?
Hmm.
Oh, definitely pizza.
Favorite YouTube channel.
Ooh, there's so many. I don't even know what my favorite YouTube channel is. I don't know that I have a favorite. It's all car stuff, that's for sure.
Of course. What else
Yeah,
is there?
yeah. I usually like guys that do just like we were talking about earlier with like a s- they buy a car just like Roadkill. Roadkill was one of my all-time favorites.
Hmm.
Because they would buy something that the average guy could buy, and it would be somewhat of a junker, and then they would spend minimum amounts of money on it to make it better, and then they
Hmm.
would go test to see if they're better,
Hmm.
it's worth it. So I love stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm the everyday kind of guy. Like I love like a polished, pristine race car. That's cool. But I really prefer, somebody that's built something with their hands and it's like patina. It has a story to tell, and you can tell that somebody built it by themselves. Like I can appreciate that so much more.
Yep. I'm with you. I'm with you. Oh, I do watch. I, I'm really enthralled by metal forging, like knives and stuff. Like,
I
so
haven't been in
I
one of
do
those.
find myself watching those YouTube videos.
Yeah, and so I do like some exotics too. I've always dreamed to have a Porsche, so I like some of the Porsche content creators. Just for like their nostalgia. What's the dude out on the West Coast that he has some crazy name. And he's got crazy long hair. He almost
Oh,
looks
that's
like,
the original like Porsche Outlaw guy.
yeah, I
Wasn't it
cannot
like
remember.
they like Maximus or
It's something
something?
like that. But his stuff is cool. I like that. The old vintage Porsche guys. But I
I'm
like
gonna, s-
the ones that have been beat on. You know what I mean? I want to see
hmm?
something beat on.
I'm gonna send you some pictures of Porsche I just finished building
You
for
built one?
somebody. Yeah, I'll send it to you. Some pictures.
Nice.
Um,
What
it was
year?
it was a 8911 that we
Nice.
backdated to make look like a 72.
Very
So
cool.
kind of like race car inspired, like an RS, fuel filler in the hood and
I know one that I
all that
have been
stuff.
following recently is have you seen the dude that has 3D printed a 3R GT3 RS, and then he literally has four 3D printers, and he printed each body panel like this big, and then he laid it over a Porsche Boxster, and it looks legitimately like a GT3 RS.
No way. That's crazy.
Oh, dude, he has like so many hours where he's putting it all together. He scanned a GT3 RS that he had. They bought like this junker Boxster, and they cut the body off just enough to where they could utilize it, and then dropped this GT3 RS body on it, and it looks so good.
Hmm,
There was
that's
another
cool.
one that somebody did with a Miata as well. He cut a Porsche, it was like a wrecked Targa or something like that, and he
Hmm.
cut the body off of that, and he body swapped a Porsche onto a Miata chassis. That one was also neat.
They got some Germans rolling around in the grave for that one
Oh,
for sure.
yeah, not happy there, right?
All right. I know you got some social medias. The podcast is We Race Trucks, right? Where can they find that?
We Race Trucks is on YouTube. I think we have it on Apple Podcasts, but again, I won't tell anybody to like go out and look for those because those are when we can get them out. But then social media, I'm just Hunter Becton on Facebook, and then my Instagram is where most of my stuff comes out, which is throttle underscore gospel. So throttle gospel.
Good name. Just like the name of the truck's good name.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
We can wrap it up there. Thanks everybody for listening to another episode. Thanks, Hunter, for coming on and love the truck. I hope to see
Appreciate
you at
you.
Autocross Week.
All right, man. Thanks.